everyone. For Science Day, we have a presentation for you about the efficient visualization of big data analysis using Shiny applications. It will be presented to you by
Me, Aristan Galindo.
and me, Sumedha Chand. We are supervised by Dr. Dae Hee Kim and funded by the RISE program here at Stanislaus State University.
So, like I said, I'm Aristan Galindo. I'm a senior at Stanislaus State, majoring in computer science with a cybersecurity concentration.
And I'm Sumedha Chand, but feel free to call me Sumi. I'm a junior, and my major is also computer science with a cybersecurity concentration. And we are both a part of the RISE program.
So, what is big data and why do we visualize it? So, big data is larger, sometimes complex data sets that traditional data processing software can't manage. And so, the 5 V's or characteristics that make up big data are as follows: volume, which is the huge amount of data that comes in; veracity, the accuracy of that data or the truthness of it; velocity, the speed of incoming data and the need for that data to be processed; variety, the diverse amounts of data; and value, which is a combination between veracity, the truthness, and proper application of the data. And we visualize big data because it makes it easier for us humans to identify patterns, trends, and/or outliers in those large data sets in comparison to looking at it on a piece of paper. And so the tools that we use for our research and the presentation today are going to be R, RStudio, and Shiny. So R is a programming language for statistical computing and graphics, and it is a programming language mainly used by data miners and statisticians for data analysis. RStudio is the IDE, integrated development environment, that we use for compiling the R programming language. And Shiny is simply the R package that we use to make it easier to build the interactive web apps straight from the R language. So now we're going to show you 2 examples of Shiny applications and a quick demo of what you're going to see when you look into the Shiny application.
All right, so one of the examples of Shiny applications we're going to take a look at is called Chirp. It allows you to visualize Twitter interactions in the form of networks. It lets you see how Twitter users converse about a topic, and it can let you see these interactions in the form of networks based on retweets, conversations, hashtags, conversation co-mentions, and hashtag co-mentions. Now, if you head over to the URL at the corner right there, you can follow along with me. Now, when you click on the URL, you're going to be taken to this page. Just click on View App, and then this is the interface. We're going to take a look at Dogs of Twitter. It will fetch 500 tweets, and then it will show it to you in the form of a network. And this is what it looks like. You can zoom in and zoom out, and you can also click on the nodes, and it'll show you the tweets right over on the side. If you click on the tweet, you can actually be taken directly to the tweet on Twitter in another tab. So these are all the tweets. Over on the side, if you click on data, you can actually, if you enter in the hashtag again, or whatever your search is, you can actually append that search and add an additional number of tweets. It can only fetch 500. It's defaulted to set to search for 500 at a time, but you can search for more, but you'll have to do it 500 to 750 at a time. If you take a look at the upper right corner, you can actually change the network type over here, where it's defaulted to set search through retweets, but you can change that to hashtags. And the hashtag network looks a lot more connected because it's searching through the hashtags. And Dogs of Twitter is in the center, so they're all going to be connected to that since that's what we're searching. And you can actually save this and export it and save this file for later. You can take a look at the conversations here. So this is connecting users based off of whenever they add each other. At the bottom, you can filter through different clusters of hashtags. And at the bottom right again, there's a really cool feature of going into VR mode. So if you have a VR headset, you can take a look at that. Now, yeah, this is Chirp, and it's a really cool application, and it just shows you all the possibilities that Shiny applications can bring to you. Even though if you don't use Twitter, you can make something like this for some other application that you use.
So another example of a Shiny application is going to be the matching memory game. So this is a classic game that tests your ability of memory and speed, where you are going to flip over the hex tiles one at a time for a max of 2 in order to see if they match. And if they don't, you're just going to repeat the process until you find all 10 matches. And so the images that you see here are saved from the RStudio gallery website, but they can be changed if you visit the URL code on the bottom right that you see there. And that's where you can also find the source code and even import the project into your own RStudio account. This video is just going to show you what to expect when you start running the matching memory game. The first window is going to tell you a few instructions of what to expect when you press play. But after that, it's going to just start you into the game where it starts the timer to see how long it takes you to find all 10 pairs. Now, if you're unlike me, you're going to find the pairs pretty quickly. But this is a great example of an unexpected way to use Shiny and the R programming language to build something that wasn't intended originally to build. And at the end here, you're going to see how long it took, and you're going to get the option to tweak your score and or play again.
All right, so now that we took a look at a few Shiny applications, we're going to learn how to actually make them ourselves. So I'll show you how to install RStudio and the Shiny package. Now, if you can open up these URLs in in a browser, you can follow along with me. So head over to cloud.r-project.org. This is where you're going to be downloading R, and for RStudio, head over to www.rstudio.com/products/RStudio/download. Here, over at the first URL, you're going to find the operating system you have, and then click on that, and then click on Install R for the first time. Since I have a Windows machine, I'm going to be running the Windows version. So we're downloading R 4.13, and then you can click right through the installer. You can click next for everything. And R is going to be the language that we're using. All right, and then head over to the next website, which is RStudio. Scroll down to the free desktop version and click download. Since I have a Windows machine, again, I'm clicking the Windows version, but if you scroll down, you can see the versions for other operating systems. So once that's downloaded, just click through the installer. So RStudio is the IDE we will be using, and RStudio can actually run in 2 versions. We're going to be downloading the desktop version, but you can run a server version, which you can open up in a browser. Now, once that's downloaded, click on RStudio and open that up. And then over here, if you click on the bottom right and click Packages and Install, type in Shiny, and you can actually download the Shiny package this way. Now there is another way that you can install the Shiny package. If you type install dot packages and then parentheses quote Shiny, you can download the package that way too.
So once you have R and RStudio downloaded, you can follow along with this demo of an example project within the Shiny library. And we're going to start off by importing that Shiny library by typing in library parentheses Shiny, enter, and then typing in run capital example parentheses quotations 01 underscore hello and quotations and parentheses, enter. And it's going to pop up a new window where you're going to see the application on the left and the code on the right. So this app.r file is made up of 2 components, the UI component, which you see there on the left, and the server component, which is going to be what happens behind the scenes in a sense. So this UI component is made up of the fluid page, starting with the title panel, hello Shiny, a sidebar layout, which is where the input output definitions on the left side will be, the sidebar panel, that square that encompasses the number of bins input slider. And that input slider is going to come in handy a little bit later on. And it's going to actually change the main panel here where we have displaying the outputs. And in this case, the output is plotting an output of a histogram. So that change of the histogram is going to happen in the second component, the server component, which is where the logic comes from to draw the histogram. And in this project, this is going to be a reactive program, meaning that when you change the values of the input slider, it's going to react and change the histogram based upon that new value. And it does this by using that money or the dollar currency symbol sign to tell RStudio that in the language it's going to be a reactive based off of the input slider. And so whatever value you change the input slider to, it's going to also highlight the piece of code that is being used to calculate the new histogram. And so when you put those two components together, the UI and the server, that's how you're going to create the Shiny application. Now you can separate the UI code into its own file, its own UI.R file, and you can also separate the server code into its own server.R file, or you can just combine both as they did here for a bit of ease of use.
All right, so Aristan and I have been working on a medical big data analysis research project here at Stan State under the supervision of Dr. Kim. We are trying to find the links between the genetic variants and diseases. Our predecessors who have previously worked on this project designed and implemented the system that we're using. Our database consists of genotype DNA and electronic health records of 20,000 patients from a biobank in Marshfield Clinic Research Institute in Wisconsin. Because we're dealing with such a large amount of data, we're actually using Shiny applications on our front end to help us visualize all of this information. Currently, we're working to increase the speed of our system. If you head over to the URL right at the bottom, it will take you to Dr. Kim's website, and from there, if you go under conferences and workshops, you can actually take a look at our paper that was published a few years ago, or just last year actually, and you can take a look at the paper if you want to learn more information.
Thank you so much for watching. Please follow us on social media to find more about our upcoming events.